Hello. Here we are in the week break from the academy, and here we are with the video that I promised you because I realized that during my vlogs I rush over everything I need to tell about that day, but sometimes I give many things for granted. So here we are. In this video, I'll tell you 10 things that you probably don't know about my days at the academy. Let's start. First of all, I will start this video saying that here I will not be saying the name of my academy because I don't have an active collaboration with the academy and it's a private academy, so I don't want any cover advertising in this video. However, it's an academy in Milan, and if you do a quick search on Google, you will find a few. One big advice I can give you is to participate to open days, and luckily I did, because before attending this academy I was convinced about going to another one, and thanks God I participated to different open days where I had the chance to ask many questions and understand the difference between them and understand which one among the ones that I was considering was the best one for me. The academy I attend doesn't have any requirements to enter, so I didn't need to do any test, luckily, because I was starting basically from zero with drawing and definitely from zero with painting. So if there were any tests or anything, I would have probably not be able to enter. My academy offers both full-time, annual or 3 years courses and also part-time courses made especially for workers or those who cannot attend full-time. My formula is an hybrid formula because I decided to attend the academy for 6 months but as a full-time. And after that, I don't know what's gonna happen with me. For sure I won't get the diploma that the full-time students, the annual and the 3-year students will get. They're also able to teach after these 3 years. I won't be able to, but that was not my goal. My goal was to learn painting and improve in drawing. One thing I know for sure is that this is not an environment that you easily leave. Actually, if I ever leave the academy, I will probably still be doing some drawing classes or painting classes because it's such an engaging environment that it's impossible to leave. So I'm definitely not ready for that, and don't let me think about that because I still haven't thought about what I'm gonna do in 6 months when I will start working again. So stay tuned because I will probably have a crisis. As you might know, my weekly schedule is from Monday until Thursday, and hopefully you already remember that Monday and Tuesday is drawing, while Wednesday and Thursday is painting days. While 2 Fridays a month we go to museums or exhibitions with our teachers who guide us there. And now daily sessions. Follow me here because it might sound complicated, but it is not. Every day there are 3 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening. In the morning we start at 9:30 until 12:30. We start back at 1:30 until 4:30 p.m. and then there is an evening session that starts at 6:30 and finishes at 9:30. For drawing classes, we always have models. However, models are with us for 1 hour and a half out of the 3 hours for each session. So for 1 hour and a half, we draw models. For the remaining hour and a half, we either draw ourselves. As you know, I've been practicing portraits or the whole figure drawing. Sometimes we do composition study, or maybe sometimes the teacher asks us to do some master copies from Renaissance masters. And that's also very useful, for example, to understand Tratteggio or to understand the solutions that old masters found in some of their drawings. However, in painting, we only have the model the last 2 weeks a month. And the model is staying with us for the whole 3 hours of the session because obviously painting is much slower than drawing. For the first 2 weeks of the month, we paint from the sculpture or from master copies or from some compositions that teachers always place us, for example with sculptures or with some still lifes that we have at the academy. So that's still quite interesting, but obviously I prefer drawing and painting models. So the teaching method in my academy is inspired by the Renaissance workshops. We paint as they used to do in Renaissance, with underpainting, grisaille, and then with color. Unlike French academy style schools, we do not copy, for example, bark, and we don't wait to be super proficient with pencil and then we move on to charcoal and then we wait to be super proficient with charcoal and only then we move to painting. Thanks God, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to paint, because as I said, I only have 6 months here and that was my main goal. That was also why I chose this academy over others. There is a strong emphasis on practice, on poses of maximum 40 minutes, because the idea is that we don't need to become photographers of reality, but we need to become interpreters. So this, let's say, short poses of 40 minutes allow us to interpret the model with our own style. Every drawing session starts with quick sketches of 2 minutes first, and then of 1 minute, and then of 30 seconds. And that allows the hand to relax and warm up, and also to activate the right side of the brain, which is the less logical but the most creative one, which help us to draw better. Only then we can go on with 40 minutes poses. As I was saying, practice is everything. We don't have theoretical classes. The theory always goes along with practice, because during every class we have teachers that go around the class and give feedback about our own drawing and how we can improve them. So we always talk about tratteggio, about anatomy, about planes, about boxes that make our body. However, we don't have solely theoretical classes. Obviously, the teachers always try to give us some tips around theory and are always happy to suggest some readings to do. Obviously, for beginners, they don't throw you to draw or paint models straight away. In my first few days, I firstly painting grayscale and then the color scale, and then I practice on painting the sphere in grisaille, as you might remember. And then I did a master copy of Leonardo da Vinci, very easy painting, and then I started painting from little sculptures. Only then I got to paint live models, and as you might know, only in my 8th week I started using color, because I was only painting with grayscale. There is a journey for each of us depending on our level, and you're always guided by the teachers. If you're curious, go back and look at my videos of the first weeks to have a better idea what I was doing in my first weeks at the academy. Since we don't have theoretical classes, we have extra seminars that we can decide to attend. For example, I decided to attend 2 seminars. One was anatomy seminar with Alex Polla. In the anatomy seminar, we look at the muscles and then the bones of a part of the body. For example, in the past few weeks, we looked at the back muscles and bones. We draw them and then we analyze them on a picture of a model. That is super useful, because when it comes to drawing live, we know what we're doing and we can put some accents. We can give some more focus to these anatomical parts and know what we're drawing mostly. This is especially useful for shadows, for example, and to give the right volume and shape to what we're drawing. The second seminar that I attended was The System of Art with Alessandro Riva, who was also an art critic, and that was super useful. However, I only attended the last class of this seminar because I entered late the academy and the seminar was already its last lesson. However, it must have been super useful and super interesting, because it explored the ways that artists enter the art world, enter the gallery world, why we do art, how artists can navigate this world, what are the main actors, and so on. I really hope there's gonna be this workshop again in the future, because I would be super keen on attending it. What do you think about this method? I really miss theory classes. I really think that some theoretical classes, for example, some history of art classes or philosophy of art classes, would have been so useful to let me grow as a complete artist, while we don't really have them. Obviously, we often talk about history of art, especially focusing on Renaissance art, since that's the methods we are using. However, not in a linear way, which is what I would have really loved. What I try to do is to complement this knowledge with some readings that I do at home. One particularly interesting one was Story of Art by Ernest Gombrich. He wrote a book on the history of art. It's written in a very easy way and it explains super well how the different eras of art they changed, why they changed, who were the main artists at that time, and why everything changed so much in the past, and where are we at the moment, because we never talk about contemporary art either. However, the teachers are always happy to suggest us readings, extra things to do at home. Maybe I should do different videos on the readings that I love the most, that were the most useful for my learning journey. Let me know in the comments if you're interested and if you think I should do that. In the class, we are usually between 10 and 15, and we are not divided by level. It's actually super useful to be next to someone who's very skilled, because by looking at their drawing, you understand which kind of solutions they found to the same problem that you faced during your drawing. And actually, during classes, sometimes we put ourselves in the center of the room and we put all our drawings on the floor and we look at all of them together with the teacher, and the teacher shows us what we did well, where we could improve, which were the most efficient solutions found by the students. So that's super interesting. It allows you to progress more quickly. The classes are mixed in terms of backgrounds and age, because we have people of all age. Actually, I think that the average age is slightly older than I am, and actually we have people that are there part-time but their main job is architect, or maybe director of some company, or waiter, many different backgrounds. And that's super interesting because everyone is able to bring their own point of view based on their context, based on their background. That's another thing that I love about the Academy. And finally, the teachers are not the usual university professors that you might think. They're actually successful artists that have an active art life on their own. And I think that one of the most interesting things at the Academy is when they tell you about some anecdotes about their art or their art life, or how they became artists, what were the challenges they faced in the past. I love hearing that, and I love being able to exchange ideas with actual artists. Also, they all have their unique style, and they also have their own unique methods. So, for example, one thing that happened to me in my first few weeks was an episode when a teacher came to me and advised me to start putting color in painting, starting from the shadows and then going to the midtones and then arriving to the lights. And then a second teacher arrived like 5 minutes after and advised me to start from midtones. So each of them has got their unique method, and despite it might seem confusing at the beginning, it is actually very useful because you understand there's not one dogma only, but you're allowed to try and experiment different methods and find the method that's the right one for you. So you don't have to stick to something, but find something that makes you comfortable to let you express your own voice at the end of the day. I think I covered many things. Probably there's still a lot more to say. Let me know in the comments if there are some more things that you want to know. For example, one person asked me to show you the materials that I use, and I don't want to show this here, otherwise this video will become so long, but I think I will do another video to show that. Let me know if it can be useful for you too, so at least I know what to prioritize in the videos that I make. I think that's it for this video. Let me know if it was useful, leave a like, and remember to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!